Greetings! In this video I'll be painting an Intercessor of the Blood Knights chapter. This model is based on an Assault Intercessor body, with arms from the normal Intercessor kit. For the pauldrons, I've 3D printed some models I edited myself. There's a full explanation of that in the video description. Like usual, I've primed the model black through my airbrush, but you can use a Rattlecan spray primer if you prefer. For the base coat, I've applied Mephiston red all over, in a few coats, followed by an edge highlight with Evil Sunz Scarlet. I've left the pauldrons black for now, as I'll be painting them white next. Next, I went in with Ulthuan grey to paint in the pauldrons, the helmet, the Imperialis, and the Aquila on the weapon. It takes a few coats to get nice coverage with this colour over black, and keeping the coats thin helps yield a smooth finish. Onto the eye lenses now. Going back to Mephiston red, I filled in the entire lens, then Evil Sunz Scarlet for the middle of the lens. After those two reds, I switched to Wild Rider red and did a smaller bit, trying to bring the brightness up above the armour. Lugganath orange finishes the eyes, doing a small bit towards the middle of the face. Now that most of the colours are blocked in, I switched to Abaddon black to clean up the bolt rifle, as well as painting in the undersuit and doing the armorial. I had forgotten about the tactical marking, so I switched back to Mephiston red to paint that in. For the metallics, I used Iron Warriors, base coating in the weapon and the armour details. I'm liking the darker silver recently, as I'm able to control the shine more with a highlight of a brighter colour later. For the leather, I've gone with Thondia brown, base coating in the sling, the belt and the pouches. The first highlight was done with Skrag brown. I'm trying to do a more fine application now, with a fancier brush, so I'm doing some more specific lines to represent highlights and damage. The second highlight is done with Deathclaw brown, doing a similar method to the previous paint, aiming to accentuate the cuts and scratches. The sling has some grenades strapped in, so I used some Runelord brass to paint those, as well as the exposed cartridges in the magazine. I briefly went back to the tactical marking, highlighting the entire thing with Evil Sunz Scarlet. Next, I went in with Mechanicus Standard Grey to highlight the weapon casing. Manually highlighting weapons always seems to elude me. I'm not too good at this. Back to the tactical marking one final time. I started to apply some freehand numbering, This was super difficult to record, and the paint kept drying before I could apply paint, so there's not much footage from this bit. Now back to the silver metallics. I went in with Ironbreaker to highlight the Iron Warriors I applied earlier. I'm using my up is brighter mentality, painting the tops and hitting various edges, trying to get a nice shine to add some more depth. Weathering time. Going back to Thondia brown, I applied some dots and scratches along the white bits. For the red, I tried using Knight-Questor flesh, and applied it in a similar method to the previous colour. Darker colours need lighter colours for chipping, otherwise they don't really stand out that much. I'm not sure this colour was the right choice, it's a bit too close to the red, but I didn't want to go too bright. I totally didn't forget the company marking. Here's me painting the knee pad with Abaddon black for the 5th company. Now for some enamel to finish the paint job. I applied this dark sepia pin wash pretty much all over, only thinning it a little bit this time. When it dried enough, I went back in with a cotton tip with some thinner on it, to bring the brightness back to the more exposed panels. After I was done, I applied my usual basing method, and applied an ultramatte varnish off camera. And here we have it! An Intercessor of the Blood Knight's 5th company. I'm fairly happy with this one. This is a fairly simple scheme, and I've done red armour a few times now. While the red itself is pretty much the same as many of the others, I did try some new colours for the weathering, and I think my skills improved a tiny bit, at least since the first red scheme I did late last year, the Angels Redeemed. I'd like to mention the enamel I used this time. I used the dark sepia pin wash from AK Interactive like usual, but I switched out the usual AK odorless thinner with Abteilung 502's fast drying thinner. This thinner simply refused to dry. When I switched the cotton bud in the video, that was the next day, and it still has wet spots as you can see in the footage. Around a year ago, I tried oils for the first time, and used the same Abteilung 502 fast drying thinner. I left the model for a whole week on a window in the sunlight, and it still wasn't dry. Paint was coming off with every touch. I thought it was the oil, so I've not used any oil since. But now I'm thinking it's the thinner. Maybe it's a bad batch, maybe not. Let me know in the comments if you've used Abteilung 502's fast drying thinner, or if you've used oils. What's their curing time like for this sort of application? Either way, the enamel was sealed in with the ultramatte varnish, and I think the final result looks pretty good. The reason I made this model was due to the fact I already had the pauldron made for the Guardians of the Covenant, so it was an easy choice to paint up a chapter that shares the same armorial. But anyway, hope you'll stick around for the next one.